Syrian Arab Army units intensify operations in several areas and eliminate dozens of terrorists, some of them foreigners. More members join Tribesmen's People's Defense Units to fight terrorism alongside the Syrian Arab Army. Iraqi troops take control of new areas in Tikrit and inflict heavy losses upon ISIL terrorist groups. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Yerado Krikorian with the news in English. Syrian Arab Army units have eliminated a number of terrorists and destroyed their equipment and vehicles, some of which were equipped with heavy machine guns in Maqta' al-Bakara, Tal Jbin, Haretan, Shaqf and the surroundings of Tal al-Madafa in Aleppo countryside. In Idlib suburbs, several armed men have been killed or wounded in Halluz, Zayzoun, Bazda Farm and the vicinity of Benish Road. In Latakia northern countryside, the Syrian Arab Army targeted terrorist gatherings in 5 areas and destroyed their mortar launchers podiums and killed all the terrorists therein. A number of armed men have also been killed, including 2 Libyans, a Jordanian and an Egyptian. In Darha suburbs, a whole terrorist group has been moreover eliminated and their equipment was destroyed in Enkhel. More tribesmen in Deir Ezzor have joined and are still joining the People's Defense Units to combat terrorism on the side of the Syrian Arab Army units. In a statement, they voiced determination to continue fighting ISIL terrorists. They called on all hesitant youths to join their ranks in fighting ISIL that has been directly supported by the USA and Turkey. They affirmed that ISIL's unprecedented crimes, which included women and children, have made it incumbent upon them to move rapidly to clear the governorate of ISIL and other terrorist organizations in cooperation with the Syrian Arab Army. In Iraq, 41 ISIL terrorists, including 17 suicide bombers who tried to break into a Ramadi area, were killed as Iraqi authorities imposed a curfew on the city in order to protect citizens. Meanwhile, Iraqi troops broke into a prison controlled by ISIL south of Kirkuk and freed 34 detainees. In another development, ISIL terrorists demolished Imam Ibrahim Mosque in Ras al-Khor, west of Mosul, using bulldozers and shovels. Welcome back. An Egyptian army officer was killed during an attack which targeted a military point in Al-Barahima in Rafah as gunmen set fire into a police station in Al-Fayoum governorate. Meanwhile, terrorists dismantled an explosive charge planted by terrorists in Al-Arish school northeast of Sinai. These attacks followed a series of attacks yesterday, during which an officer and a soldier were killed and 27 army recruits were wounded. In occupied Palestine, the Israeli forces of occupation and their gangs of settlers renewed storming into the courtyards of Al-Aqsa Mosque from Bab al-Maghariba. Israeli forces of occupation also stormed a school in At-Tur town, east of occupied Jerusalem, triggering clashes between the students and the occupation soldiers, who fired stunt bombs targeting the students and the bypassers. The Israeli occupation forces launched several raids in Hebron and the village of Al-Nabi Saleh near Ramallah, arresting 12 Palestinians. Meanwhile, Israeli bulldozers demolished several facilities in 2 villages west of Jenin. Finally, 7 U.S. Marines and 4 soldiers were reported missing early today after an Army helicopter crashed during a night training exercise at Eglin Air Force Base in Florida State. Base officials said the Marines are part of a Special Operations Group and the soldiers were from Louisiana-based National Guard unit. With this, we conclude our news for today. Thank you for watching. For more details about Syria and the region, and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our website in English, syriaonline.sy. Now to latest business and market news with Serena, but after a short break.
Good afternoon. The Ministry of Economy and Foreign Trade renewed granting the licenses for importing fuel oil, but only for industrialists in order to operate their industrial facilities. The permission came on condition of sticking to the controls and the directives of the Ministry of Oil and Mineral Resources, so as this substance would reach its needed facilities, not allowing its being smuggled or used for other purposes. The move came in line with the government's aim to encourage industrial work and production. Head of the Agricultural Directorate in Daraa said that Food and Agriculture Organization FAO, in cooperation with the Ministry of Agriculture, would support 840 families depending on the production of poultry and vegetables in the next few days. Several criterions were set to support in finding jobs, the most important of which is that the farmers have to be from the ones in need who live in the rural areas, as a special attention would be paid for those who have women as the only financial supporter. The project targets 12 areas in the governorate. There are 440 families who would benefit from the domain of poultry production, while 400 families would benefit from producing vegetables. Russian crude oil exports are expected to rise this year and beyond as volumes are converted away from domestic refineries, which are cutting capacity as part of modernization drive. But crude oil exports are seen rising by up to 3 million tons in 2015 and to 280 million tons per year by 2035 from 224 million tons in 2014. The weakest euro since 2003 boosted stocks on the third day of the European Central Bank's quantitative easing program. Emerging market shares fell for a ninth day after Chinese economic data trailed analyst estimates. The Standard & Poor's 500 futures expiring this month advanced after the index slumped the most in 2 months, while the US is the worst performing developed market this year after Greece. Gold dropped close to its lowest in more than 3 months on Wednesday, while spot gold was down 0.2%. Silver was up 0.6% at $15.71 an ounce, having dropped to a 2-month low on Tuesday, and palladium was down 0.3% at $798.95 an ounce. The dollar measured against a basket of its trading partners, reaching the highest level since 2003. The euro has remained firmly on the defensive against the pound and the US dollar in the past week, with Friday's US employment report much stronger than expected. With this, we conclude our economic news for today. Thank you for watching and goodbye.